So, you think you know Millie Bobby Brown, right? The telekinetic kid from Stranger Things, the star who literally grew up right in front of our eyes. But the real story, the one that tells you who she actually is, well, that's all about what happened when the cameras finally stopped rolling. This is how the girl became an empire. Okay, let's start with a number. In 2026, Millie Bobby Brown turned just 22 years old. Remember that number. Just keep it in your head, because what's coming next makes her age seem almost impossible to believe.
Because by that same age, her net worth had already skyrocketed to an estimated $20 million. Nope, not a typo. Let that sink in for a second. 20 million.
Which of course leads us to the biggest question of all. How? I mean, how does anyone build a global brand before most people have even figured out how to pay back their student loans? All right, let's get into it.
You see, this story, it doesn't begin with fame and fortune. It begins with a massive all-or-nothing gamble. A bet her family made that put the weight of their entire world on the shoulders of their 9-year-old daughter.
One source put it this way, and honestly, it's just chillingly perfect. The 9-year-old whose family lost everything on her dreams grew into the 20-year-old who turned those dreams into an empire. This was never just a hobby for her. This was survival.
I mean, just look at this journey. She was born in Spain, then the family moves to England when she's 4, but by the time she was 8, they sold everything they owned, packed their lives into suitcases, and moved to Orlando, Florida to chase a Hollywood dream they absolutely could not afford to fail.
And you know what? It almost all came crashing down.
At just 10 years old, after a really brutal rejection from a casting director, Millie was crushed. She told her parents she was done, ready to quit acting for good. The family's insane gamble was seconds away from blowing up in their faces.
But then came one last roll of the dice.
A final, last-ditch audition that wouldn't just change her life, it would end up defining an entire decade of pop culture. Her parents convinced her to send in just one more self-taped audition. And that tape, it was for this weird little 80s throwback show called Stranger Things. And the world was about to meet a girl named 11. The explosion was just immediate. It was unbelievable. Get this, before she was even old enough to get her driver's license, she was the youngest Emmy nominee in her category, she was named one of Time's 100 most influential people, and she was UNICEF's youngest ever Goodwill ambassador. The world was officially paying attention. And after years of being this pop culture icon, the show finally ended, leaving a huge question mark over her character's fate. So, did 11 make the ultimate tragic sacrifice, dying to destroy the Upside Down for good? Or, as Mike Wheeler believes, did she pull off a heroic move, fake her own death, and finally escape to live a life of her own? It was completely left to interpretation.
But here's the thing. While all of us were busy debating 11's final chapter, Millie Bobby Brown was already writing her own. She was shifting from actress to architect, the architect of a full-blown, multi-million-dollar brand.
It really started with this massive power move. For the movie Enola Holmes 2, she negotiated a jaw-dropping $10 million salary. That made her the highest-paid actor of her age at the time. This wasn't just a paycheck, it was a declaration. Now, this is where her strategy gets really fascinating. Acting is just one piece of the pie. Through her own production company, she gets creative control and, more importantly, a bigger cut of the profits. As the majority owner of her beauty brand, Florence by Mills, she's building real long-term wealth. And, of course, you've got the huge deals with brands like Louis Vuitton that keep her front and center in the fashion world. And this chart, well, it just shows you the incredible result. From about $1 million in 2018 to $10 million by 2022 to a projected $20 million by 2026. This isn't just growth, folks. This is a rocket ship. But as her public empire was growing to these insane heights, her private life took a really surprising turn. She didn't lean into the Hollywood lifestyle. She actually built a fortress of privacy, far, far away from all of it. And this next chapter of her life unfolded at lightning speed. In 2021, she meets Jake Bongiovi. By 2023, they're engaged. They get married in 2024. And then in 2025, they announce they've adopted their first child, a daughter. It was a really rapid, decisive move toward building her own family, entirely on her own schedule. And where did she decide to build this new life? Not Beverly Hills, on a huge farm in Georgia. It's become her sanctuary, home to more than 60 rescue animals, where she can raise her daughter completely out of the spotlight.
And when people tried to slap the trad wife label on her, she shut that down immediately, making it clear this life was about her choices, not some kind of performance.
This really brings us to a final, powerful idea that just sums it all up. 11 escaped the laboratory. Millie Bobby Brown built her own. It's a perfect metaphor, isn't it? One was a character who was defined by her captivity. The other is a real person who used her fame to build a world that's entirely her own. So what this all really means is that the chapter of 11 is closed. It's done. The story that made her famous is over. The only question that's left is, what will the era of Millie, the producer, the entrepreneur, the mother, what will that era define? Because she is only just getting started.
Thanks for watching Media GenX. If you liked this story, show some love with a like, subscribe for future updates, and share it around. Until the next headline.